How y'all got the situation on when y'all was working with South Coast? I think when y'all was putting out a lot of artists and y'all had some type of deal with them too. When y'all
well, the way we get to South Coast was like we was that Big Boy. I got into it with Precise. Me and him had a fight, and from the fight with me and Precise over some royalty money, it was like $5 grand that he had put in the reserve for us. He wound up telling me, he was putting it in reserve so if we didn't sell records, at least when 6 months come, at least we'll have 5 more bands like that we can still play with.
Right.
So we wound up selling a lot more records and we wound up getting a royalty for that, but I was like, what a $5 grand at?
Right.
Sice was like, I don't really know what you're talking about. I said some disrespectful stuff to him. I'm fussing with Chuck. He snuck me, we fight. Wound up breaking my jaw, right? Mm-hmm. So Chuck wound up giving me $5 grand and our contract time was up. So what happened was, we asked Chuck to give us $1 million, for the sign back. He was negotiating $500,000, but Kango was like, man, we want $1 million. And,
right.
So that led to an argument. So when we left Big Boy, we wound up talking to all the other artists. We had a meeting at Mystikal House, and when we had the meeting at Mystikal House, we kind of was telling them that we was getting royalties when they didn't know nothing about royalties. They just knew that we was getting paid off the shows.
Right.
So they thought all our money was coming from show money, but it was actually coming from show money and royalties. So when we brought about royalties, that means every artist went back to Big Boy saying, where my royalties, where my royalties, where my royalties. So they had a big payout to do with a lot of people, which made people feel like, they was getting treated unfairly, so people just started wanting to go their own routes. We all pretty much signed in the same time frame for the most part, and it was just like everybody's contract was kind of at the end.
Right.
So some people left. Me, the Ghetto Twins, and Mystikal wound up leaving, and Jada, Black Menace, and some of the other artists kind of like was still dealing with Big Boy at the time. Insane artists like that was still dealing with him. So the guy Robert Shaw was a partner with Big Boy. They had everybody was going through. Rob was an advocate for the artists to try to treat them fairly.
Right.
Chuck was more like he didn't mind treating them fairly, but if they don't know, they just don't know. You know what I'm saying? It's on them. It's on them to read their contract and know what's due to them. If they not at my top for it, then I ain't really opening that book for them.
Right.
So when they fell out and everybody fell out, Sice wound up getting offered the opportunity to go to Rap-A-Lot, which we was also offered that same opportunity. Wow. Rap-A-Lot didn't want to pay what we wanted, so we wound up. Rob Shaw offered us opportunity to be a partner with him with South Coast Music Group. So that was our first kind of CEO setup. Like, you know what I'm saying? We wasn't the full owners of the company, but we had a share in what he was doing.
Right.
So what we did, we told him we'll go get the artists, work with them, develop them, so that we can build a label. And we went out, got Miss T, Fifth Ward Weeby. We had Lil Slim over there that was with Cash Money. We had the Drama Squad, people like that. So we started building our own team of people through the South Coast Music Group.
So you could tell us how Miss T and them, and I guess and Kango and y'all made Why You Acting Funny. Some of the hits y'all made with Weeby around that time, cause y'all was in every era killing it. Y'all was always had a record in every era, seemed like in New Orleans.
Well, what happened with that was I'm gonna start off with Weeby. When we heard Weeby had the one song, "If your pussy smell like onions." So I heard that in the club Whispers at the time, and I was like, I had told my wife that's my wife now. She was my girlfriend then, but I told her then, I was like, man, I'm gonna work with this little dude. He nice.
You saw it.
So I went at Weeby and I told Weeby I'd like to have you over there with us. I want to work with you. I think that you put buku chants in one song. We could break that down and make multiple songs. We could have damn near made an album off that one song.
Right.
So got him in there, worked with him, helped develop him on his artistry. And then I was, Kango come up with the song. So what we was doing was, we knew that at the time you had to buy the whole album to buy a song you like.
Right.
So we just started putting hits on everybody's stuff so that all the artists could have some kind of heat on it.
Genius.
So when Primetime, he was a member, he was the third member of Partners in Crime that we added to him. So we told Prime he was gonna go solo.
Right.
To, just so that we could have more artistry. So we set Prime up as a solo artist, and that was gonna be the single on Prime album. And we had some other females that was trying to sing it, but they just didn't have the right feel. So what I said was, I'm gonna go get somebody that can compliment you, Kango. The only female that got that kind of soul rhythm like you got is Miss T. She's the girl version of you the boy version of her.
Facts.
So I went to her, she was already had just left Cash Money. She was dealing with Untouchable Records and she had left them alone. So she was almost giving up on rap, I'm not messing with it no more. you know, the rap game ain't fair for women. Like that was like kind of like where she was at.
Right.
So I was in the Firecrackers building out there in Slidell. We was doing a concert, and I was like, look, T, won't you come sing this song? She was like, I ain't messing with it. I was like, look, if you come do this, I'm telling you, it's gonna take you back in the game. So she came there. She wound up doing the song, and the rest was history. We worked on the album with her, Don't Get Mad, Get Even. And you know, helped produce a project for her, and that's how we get to working with Miss T, you know what I'm saying, at that time.
I'm so glad like you did that, bro, because like I said, that song was like an iconic classic song, and we love that record, but like I said, it was Meana on her to say, look, please do this, like you need to come back, the game needs you, and definitely you gave us a hit with that one. Like I said, the thing that's so great about all the stuff that y'all did, like I said, I just don't feel like people get enough of their flowers. And I always wanted to know as a fan, why y'all didn't go to No Limit? Because I know at the time it seemed like a lot of big boy artists was signing No Limit, and I was always like, why Partners in Crime, you know, didn't go to No Limit?
But before all those artists had went to No Limit, when Pete did Down South Hustlers, y'all
was on it,
we was number 8 on the first CD.
Right.
So we went out there to do it like a bounce song, but KLC wasn't in town. We went to Richmond. I think it was 2 days after Christmas one year, and we go out there. C Murder was a friend of mine's, like through one of my best friends. I have a best friend named Leonard. He was dating Leonard's sister, you know what I'm saying, a girl named Diane. And you know, so I was around him a lot, and he was like, look, bro, I got a brother that rap, you know, you want to go to, you ever been to California? I was like, yeah, I have. You like, you ever been to the Bay? No. Look, my brother gonna pay for y'all to come out there once y'all come. So we go out there, we do the song. Well, we was going to do a bounce song. KLC never made it, so the beats that they was coming up with, it wasn't bounce vibe. They didn't really know how to make a bounce vibe.
It was that Cali type vibe, that Bay Area.
So, you know, bounce was like, bitch, stop talking that shit. And it was like a little amazed with that style because Too Short was hot in that area, and his favorite word was bitch.
Facts.
So when they was hearing how we was using bitch, they were like, man, do that over this beat. So we just joking and doing it. And you know, so when P came in there, C Murder was working on a song. He couldn't come up with a hook at the time, so Kango came up with a song called Hustlin' and did the hook on it. I did a verse. It was just me and C Murder on it at first.
Right.
So when we get back home, you know, Mia X was working in Peaches at the time. So when I saw that the Down South Hustler was out, I was like, look, your boy said if he used that song, he was gonna give me 5 bands for the song.
Right.
P changed his numbers. I wasn't able to get in touch with him.
Wow.
And I'm talking to C Murder. Everybody like, man, I don't really know what's going on with him, like to that degree. So I'm going to Suno at the time, and he comes to Suno campus to promote.
Right.
So when he come to promoting, he walk up to me. I'm talking to C Murder. He walk up to me, keep my motherfucking name out your mouth. I swear to God, it's gonna be some gangster shit. I'm like, what?
Right.
So I'm like, man, this nigga tripping. Like, so he walk off. I'm looking at Corey like, man, I don't really know what time he on, but just, you know, just let it go. He don't really know what's going on.
Wow.
So they had a show at Whispers. I go in the show at Whispers. You know, we fussing with P, you know, about, you know, I want my money. You know, P said, you know, told Kango it's gonna be some gangster shit. I'm like, look, now my car right outside. We can go outside now, you know, whoop. So he go talk to Boz, and then he come back and he said, look, bro, why don't y'all come over here? Let me discuss with y'all something.
Right.
So he called Servon come bring him some money. He give us $500.
Right.
He give it to Kango. Kango counted his $500. He's like, man, what is this?
Right.
He was like, man, that's what I paid everybody. You know what I'm saying? You think I'm gonna pay all y'all X amount? So Kango was like, man, you told us $5 grand. P was like, man, I ain't paying no 5. So Kango threw the money in his face. When Kango threw the money in his face, I took it off him.
Right. And
I was like, look, yours 4,500 more. And we walked off, went to the bar.
Right.
So from that time, P had a problem with us. So when Big Boy actually broke up,
right,
you know, it was like Mystikal was supposed to go to rap a lot, but he wound up going to No Limit. Fiend went to No Limit. We already had a problem with P, so we couldn't go to No Limit. You know what I'm saying?
And, wow, and that's crazy. Like I said, it wasn't to be like, you know, I never knew that. Like we always wanted, who's like, dog, like out of Big Boy label is like, who's, to me, y'all was like Mystikal was the shit too, but it's like y'all was like the ones that was holding it down. Like y'all was the main artist to me, the flagship artist that was flying the flag to me as a fan. So I was like, why Master P didn't take them? So for you telling us the story, now it makes sense to put everything in the context.
A lot of people don't know, you know, if some people may know this, but a lot of the world may not know this, is that Mystikal was our opening act. You know, if you look at our Let the Good Times Roll, and there's no shade.
Yeah, he was on it,
Mystikal was our partner, so you see him on that clown. You see him, and if you see how the video ending, all my partners closing in, I'm rolling up the blunt, and you see Mystikal jumping in the back. So I mean, he wasn't that dude yet.
He wasn't that star yet.
Right. We was the star, and he was like kind of opening for us. We used to pay Mystikal $300 to open for us. That's
y'all was helping breaking him.
Yeah, we was just breaking him in, like because Big Boy didn't know how to work Mystikal, and we was like, let him come on the road with us, let him work with us, let him open for us, and you know, and people started, you know, knowing who he was, and that's pretty much how he got his break.
You
know, and he offered that opportunity back to us when he wound up doing Shake It Fast and all that. We went on a tour with him because he had left No Limit. He never was really directly signed to No Limit. They just got the rights that Big Boy had with Mystikal. He still was signed to Jive. So if you look at any album cover that has Mystikal on it, you're gonna see Jive imprint on it as well, because he still was a Jive artist, and he had to fulfill that contract. So when he left No Limit, like, you know, and cut his ties with them, he was back with Jive solely. Like, he was just a soul, you know, he was just a Jive artist.
For that company.
He wound up coming back and getting us and letting us open up and like kind of hype his show up, like meaning like we was backing him up on his show. So you know, that was the favor that he gave back to us.
You remember what y'all did?
What we did with him.
Damn, that's crazy. So how you feel about like why y'all knew hit records was so important? Cause y'all always had hit records. Y'all always knew how to make a hit record. Like why would how did y'all come up with that formula to just like know like what to do or the catchy hooks or the beat? Like how do y'all figure out a hit record? Like
what we found out was, once we put out the Maxi single, we knew that we knew what people fell in love with us for, so it wasn't hard to identify this what they like from us. So, you know, it was easy just to go back in the studio and create, you know, a vibe that we know people was like loving us for, like, you know what I'm saying? So that's why we got stuck considered in the bounce or the party vibe, you know what I'm saying? Because we wasn't really just a bounce artist, we was more like a party group, like, you know what I'm saying? So we made a lot of party songs, a lot of songs people could jam to, and that was just off of those first 3 songs that we put out. We saw that, they like the melody, like, you know what I'm saying? So off of the melody, you know, me and Kango would get in there and talk, and I'd be like, yeah, sing that, you know, and as he sang it, I just write a rap to it, he'll write a rap, and next thing you know, we got a song. He was like the hook master for the group, but we used to always talk about the direction that we needed to go in. Like, we would always sit down and be like, you know, Snoop had a song called I Don't Love Them Hoes, and we was like, we need to make a song like I Don't Love Them Hoes, so we do it our way. We find out
a twist.
Yeah, that's what the people like. Let's do it our way, and we just did songs our way, and you know, just stayed true to who we were, and you know, that's what you know, our career kind of like just kept snowballing from that point.
So how you feel about, like you said, a lot of people, you know, get mad when they hear people using bounce type songs or beats. I think it's flattering, because I feel like everything that starts small and get big, that means people like it. That means if McDonald's go from California, Walmart go from Arkansas to all over the world, that's something good. So if people love our sound and everybody kind of using it, that's letting people know it's not old, because people think, oh man, nobody want to hear that shit no more. But all the biggest artists like ESTG just made the price tag song. We see what Chris Brown and Young Thug did, Meg Thee Stallion, Chris Brown, like I said, Drake, everybody, you know. So how do you feel about the evolution of the sound, and they still pulling from our stuff till this day, when the younger dudes might be like, well, you know, if they probably see Frida or Nobi, because I look at it like this, like I told Lil you know, Nobi can make bounce, Frida can make bounce, Casey Red can make bounce, you know, Magnolia Shorty, y'all, you know, Gangsta Bounce, Soulja Slim, it's all kind of bounce, you know, so it's a lot, it's like a gumbo pot. So how do you feel when people just be like, man, I can't do it because, you know, I'm gonna be looked down on if I do bounce from New Orleans, but everybody else do it and they win with it?
Well, I always felt like this, you know, we was offered a lot of major deals, and, you know, what I was confused about is like, you came looking for us because of what we was doing, but then when we get in the office, you want to alter what we do. And I'm like, they was like, y'all sound is local. I'm like, what is a local sound? When you can have NWA saying coming straight out of Compton, you can have Jay-Z saying I'm from New York, you know what I'm saying? So everybody's claiming the area, you know, Texas people talking about Texas.
Luke with bass and bass going big,
bass. Everybody doing what they do, so you're telling me my sound is local. I just didn't understand that, and I had a problem with it, you know. But what I found out was they just didn't know how to market what we had
at that time.
You know, it was It was unique. It was his own thing, and it was almost like Go-Go is to DC.
DC, right?
And they didn't know how to market Go-Go as well, so that's why Go-Go wasn't as big as it could have been, because they just didn't know how to market it. So I totally started understanding that as I got more mature in the business, understanding like, oh, they just don't know what to do with this. You know what I'm saying? So when I see people doing what we're doing, it was almost like we knew it was this before they knew. Right. You know what I'm saying? That's how I look at it. So when these people start running with it, the only problem I have is that you don't incorporate an artist from this city with it. Right. You know what I'm saying? To help our culture out. Like you're taking from us, but you're not helping us eat with it. Right. So at the end of the day, you know, but that goes back to if more artists had their business together. Right. That's why you don't hear too many people taking a Partners in Crime song, because the business structure was a little bit more intact than some of the other artists. Right. So they can take certain things from artists because they didn't have no business on it, and they can run with the sound because New Orleans wasn't handling their business side of it. So if we was handling our business more at that time, then they couldn't have really been running with those songs without us either getting paid off it or being a part of it. You know,
because I know Devious, your partner too, and I know Devious always talk about it's always about the business, and like it says, nothing wrong with them using the record or sampling if they do it the proper way. And like I said, I don't think nothing wrong with that neither, because that's flattering. Like I said, we got the record from the Drag Rap song in 1986 from the Showboys. So I think that it's cool, but like I said, I just feel like the younger people in this era just need to know that people do love it. And I see a lot of females winning with it. They getting book shows and, you know, in Florida and Virginia, Philly. And Texas, Philly, everywhere and stuff like that. So it's alive and well, and they actually making money off. Because I feel like Soulja Slim say, first thing be original, you get your own style, nigga, feel more. So if you trying to sound like Chicago, they be like, man, I could just go to Chicago to get that. I'll go to Philly and hear Meek Mills and Leaf Ward. I don't need you to be sounding like them. And that's what I think made y'all different. And even when you say with K-Lou and those guys probably No Limit that was they produced from the Bay, they had that bass sound. Y'all had that New Orleans sound, and that's what KLC and them was able to give Master P and make him embrace the Southern sound, and it catapulted him. So about Young or whatever, I know I work with Young. You know, you work with Young, Cello, and a lot of other people or whatever. What made Youngin so different and unique to you? Because I remember the record that I liked about him when he was rapping off that bounce beat. It was like a he was saying he got ears. I think J-Dog made the beat. He was saying he got ears. The drum got ears like Mickey Mouse, some shit like that. When I heard him like on a bounce beat, you don't really hear too many young people could kill a bounce beat 4 hours a dude like that, and I thought that was unique to me.
He was Youngin was a unique individual. You know what I'm saying? He was street, but you know, and you know him too, bro. He was a clown on the other side. He was buku funny, joking, good person, good, cool dude to mess with. Real loyal in a lot of ways, you know what I'm saying? Everybody had their flaws, but overall he was a good dude. And when I met Youngin, I had already known him as Lil D, like from Pigeon Town, you know what I'm saying? I remember him on a bike coming across the highway, coming across I forgot what
Claiborne or something?
It was, coming across Claiborne.
Yeah, by Harrell.
Coming from Harrell, he under the 10-speed, he was Lil. So he, you know, the 10-speed was too tall for him to get on the top. So he under the thing riding it like that. He come out, we were like, man, get your ass back on the other side. He throw rocks at you, you know. I remember you get the stupid ass bald spot in your head, you know what I'm saying? So it was a bad little D. So I'm out here in the East one day, and he had a party by Sputter in them house.
Okay, yeah, I used to live around Sputter on Tyre Lane. He used to live around Woo's Live, his brother Sputter.
Right, so Sputter was, you know, my partner Dale is dating Sputter cousin. Okay. So he had a party, we invited, we go. He was like, man, I want you to hear this little dude, man, like his name Youngin or whatever, like he nice. So I was like, let me hear. So when he bring him, I'm like, oh man, little D badass, like, you know, like go ahead and spit something. So he's spitting, I'm like, I'm impressed. I'm like, man, he raw. But he was just raw. He was just rapping, no songs, just all bars. Right. So my mission was to bring him to Juvie. You know, we had the venue spot, the nightclub. Right. Juvie had just came back and you know, he had a studio in that setting as well. Right. So I was like, look, Juve, won't you sign, you know, I got a perfect candidate for your label. Right. You know, if you're gonna get this UTP thing back running, this would be a first dude that we should bring back out, which is Youngin. Right. Everybody was impressed by him, but it was more like he was in the stuff. So Juve was like, if you work with him, I'll sign him. So what happened was, you know, me and Youngin jamming up, we both Sagittarius, you know what I'm saying, you know, our birthday a few days apart. Right. So we kind of got like a lot of like mind. He's much younger than me, but we think alike on a lot of stuff. So he like, look, man, what you think I can get out of Juvie? I know you got the bag. I'm like, I don't know, bro. I don't really know what Juvie finance is at, but you know, tell me what you want and I'll present it to him. So he was like, man, look, you know, he was starving artist, you know, little kid never made no rap money. Right. Man, tell him give me about 20 bands. I said, all right.
He aim high.
So I go to Jew. I'm like, look, he want 20,000. You know, he'll sign Jew. Like, I give him 10. Youngn like, what you think? I said, man, stand on what you believe in. Like, if you want 20, tell him, you know, it's 20.
Right, yeah, what you want,
like, man, he like, I know he got the money. If he ain't gonna give me 20, I ain't gonna fuck with it. I'm like, cool, we gonna find something else.
Right.
So, you know, so I'm working with him in the mix of that, and you know, like I said, Juvie had a spot down, and Dean, he had a A&R that used to come down, Gene Nelson.
Yeah, he wrote that in a letter to me talking about Gene.
So Gene come down, hear him, man, who is this kid? Oh, it's a lot of artists I'm working with, you know, talking to him about him. You know, he was interested in him, but Juvie, you know, he down there on Juvie ticket. Meaning you come there to handle business for Juvie, so you shouldn't really be discussing no business with another artist. So on the level of that, he was like, look, bro, when I get finished with this Juvie situation, I'm gonna come back and get Youngn.
Right.
Call me, Youngn in jail. You know, attempt murder charge.
Right.
Go to double. Right. Murder charge, man, next time. So he called me 2 times for him. Both times he was like, man, this dude is a risk.
He said that, yeah.
You know, so what people don't understand is that when Youngn went to jail the second time, we had a pact where he was like, look, Meana, if I go back to jail, bro, that mean I don't love you. Right. You know, which I know he loved me, but he was just more like, I mean, I don't love you. I mean, all the shit you telling me, you know, it's going in one ear, going out the other. So he said, if I go to jail, you ain't gotta fuck with me no more. You go to jail, I still was gonna mess with him. He calls me and said, somebody telling me that y'all selling my music online. I'm like, Youngn, we ain't, you know, we put money into you. We ain't taking no money back. We ain't even, it ain't selling like that. Right, you know what I'm saying? Nobody really checking for it like that. Right. So he was like, look, bro, why don't y'all just delete my music out of there? Right. So at the time, before I deleted it, Raymond from 0 to 60, my cousin, he had contacted me and was like, look, bro, like I'm interested in working with the little kid Youngn when he come on. I'm like, cool. I was like, I'll give you all his music, you know what I'm saying? Right. Gave him all the music and just deleted it. Right. I deleted everything out of there because I didn't want him to feel like we had his stuff up online and getting paid for it. And then you know, played your part with from that part, keeping it alive. But a lot of people thought I had gave up on him, but really I didn't. It was more like you called me and told me, take that stuff down. He was just doing what he told you to do. I just did what he said because I ain't, like I said, I ain't want nobody to feel like I'm using you to no degree. I want you to win, bro. I'm not on it to just make, which rightfully, if we'd have contracted him or did paperwork with him, we would have had the right to keep it up. Right. But with it not going that way and we just taking a chance with him, I was like, you know what, bro? I'm gonna just delete it because I ain't trying to really come up off you, and you're in a bad situation. Right, so you know, and that's kind of like where we was at, and he knew that was the truth. So that's like when he came home, he was more like, nah, he was fucking y'all work together, like you know. And I'm just like, whatever you want to do, Geedy, because I'm, you know, I saw what you did with him. Like you just kind of took off from wherever we left off, and just kind of pumped the music that we had already recorded. It wasn't like he recorded nothing new. Nah, it was just all the old stuff that you was really circulating and putting in the street. Yeah. So you know, your campaign ran strong with him to keep him alive, keep his name relevant. So when he came home, it was more like, I want y'all to work together because I know you know the business, but this man was loyal to me on a certain level too. Right. You know, you saw where the mix up went at, and when that happened, it was more like Geedy, you was like, I'm gonna step back because what we agreed on and what we was talking about when you was in jail. Right. So, you know, with that being said, I'm just gonna briefly bow out on that and y'all do what y'all do. So I was running with him again from that point on, and you know, we was building again. We did the, you know, a couple of mixtapes. You know, Chuck, his cousin, came, you know, was putting some little money behind it to kind of get it out. Ran into Fee, 0017, all that stuff came, you know what I'm saying? So when that started getting in play, he started getting another circle of people. Some of his partners coming home that he was cool with in jail. He had a new circle of people. It wasn't his cousins and the same people that was around him when I was working with him. Like Lil Worley and all them, and G and E and all. None of them was there. Fatty had got killed. So it was just more like, it was Deuce, just Deucey died. It was just like a new branch of people, like, you know what I'm saying, Birdie and what Great White, and you know what I'm saying, How to Go. It was like a new body of people that was around him. So when he got into that little energy of people, it was more like, you know, he was in his bag and he was doing his thing. I still was supporting him, but it had got to a level where he was more like, you know, I'm telling him to do certain things, you know. So him working with Black Balloon Gang, they was asking him to take $5 grand when he started getting his like buzz really up. And I'm like, look, bro, I got a bunch of people calling me because I was the contact number on his Instagram when people was calling. So they CDs and stuff too, I think. And it was like, look, man, I want to book this boy. I want to book this boy. Look, you know, I was like, he going for 5. They was like, I'll do 25. I was getting 25 all day. Youngn had did one show for $5 grand down here, which was at at Live or whatever. Like, you know, it wasn't Live at the time, but that same spot on Two Lane, it's Pressure now.
Right,
you know
I know what you're talking about, yeah.
So that spot, a dude was in jail. You know, Youngin had a jailhouse buzz.
Right.
So from the dude being in jail, he telling this girl, whatever he want, give it to him because this little dude hot.
Right.
But not knowing that Youngin had a problem on the street where people wasn't really coming to the show. They were bumping his music,
right.
but they felt like, man, I might go to that show and get shot.
Right.
So the show didn't turn out. You know what I'm saying? And he didn't make the money that, you know, he made. But since that person gave him $5 grand,
right.
Fee was telling him, man, that's your price. You should get $5 grand.
Right.
So he was trying to stand on that principle.
Set price, yeah.
And I'm like, Young, let's do 25. Let's make a sweep with the 25. Once we show him that we, you know, you could draw what you're supposed to draw.
Because you want to test the water.
Yeah, let's test the water and see what it is. And then we can boost the price up. We can hit them same spots again. I want 5. Listen, Young, all these people calling me, it's just a waste of time. I'm like, you can take my number off. He took my number off, put his cousin Chuck number on, and it was from there. Right before Youngin got killed, you know, me and him had a little argument to the level of like, look, bro, you should be doing this. He like, listen, man, if I listen to what you saying, I'm gonna be mad with you. If, you know, I gotta do what I do. I take your advice, but I can't, everything you say don't resonate with me as how I wanna move. Right. So as a man, bro, it's only right that I do what I think is right for me, right?
My heart, yeah.
I said, you know what, bro? You know, first I ain't want to hear it. Call him back. Yeah, Youngin, you right, bro. That's what real men do. Go ahead, do your thing. That Saturday, I think we talked Thursday. That Saturday, Young got killed. Yeah. But prior to that, he was right there about to get, you know, he was about to do the Cash Money little bubble like that Wednesday. You know what I'm saying?
It's gonna be a game changer.
It hurt me too.
Yeah, I know. It hurt the city and stuff like that too. And I know he was building bridges in Baton Rouge too. Why you feel like it's so important? Because like I said, to me, y'all too, and a lot of like artists back in the 90s that was coming up when y'all always putting it down in New Orleans, it was all about the South. Why you feel like, to me, it's like a lot of artists don't be really want to connect or have that Southern connection. Like, oh, you know I get that. I'm from New Orleans, I ain't from Louisiana shit. But it's like when y'all was coming up, it's like y'all still embrace the whole South. Like, cause y'all was making money through all these smaller markets in the Chitlin circuit, and y'all understood that. But I don't really, it don't, like Baton Rouge, it seems like they have that Southern connection and the culture and all that, and the gold teeth and all. It just seemed like a lot of things that was Southern getting away from New Orleans connection with that South. Why do you feel like, what do you feel like that came? Do you feel like that was after Katrina? Because like I said, y'all era, it was like down South, we with this shit, we standing on that shit.
Right. I just think the division came in with the youngsters, you know,
internet, I don't know.
Yeah, set claiming and claiming areas to a level with New Orleans feeling like we from New Orleans, not Louisiana. That would make anybody feel like, you know, we doing our thing. We ain't really worrying about those type cats, you know what I'm saying, or whatever. So I just felt like the division came amongst themselves, like, you know what I'm saying, meaning like people just started wanting to make a name for themselves, and they just separated themselves from other people, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, once the division came into play, you know, now we starting to get this thing with the ops and all this kind of stuff. So people
lingo,
it started looking like I ain't fucking with them. And, you know, like when we more had a network, I used to be on shows with all the artists. Like,
what you mean, from Louisiana or just from the city?
I mean, from the city, started in the city, but then it'll go to other places and we'll be on stage with all the people. We go to Texas, we're on stage with Slim Thug. Like, it's everything. It was just more like Southern love. Right. You know, it wasn't as much a division. Like, you know, like I said, once, like maybe after Katrina came, it was New Orleans was different and looked like everything else was different. Internet was out. So people just started riding waves to being like, what's winning? And we need to sound like that more than dealing with their own, you know, sound.
Yeah, because like I said, to me, like our sound is constantly evolving, and it's just like everything. We didn't get rid of Mardi Gras. We didn't get rid of gumbo. We didn't get rid of jazz music. We didn't get rid of like none of that. So why are we gonna get rid of bounce or just that beat? Like even if you don't want, because like I tell people, even like y'all had a lot of records that had the bounciness in it, but it was still like a mainstream sound. Even I tell people something that the people might know around the world. Back to Ass Up is a bounce record. I Got That Fire is a bounce record from the Hot Boys. Wobble Wobble, you know, Weebie song, you know, Rock the Boat, all that shit. But people loved it, Chopper style. You know, so for them to say that this shit is not cool or whatever, we not a part of the South and all that, man.
I think it got labeled with, you know, the gay bounce. So once more of those people became prevalent, like before when your Fridas and all these people start popping off, the rappers like stepped away from that and kind of left it like that's y'all thing. That's not what we gonna do because they separated. Like, you know, when I went out of town after Katrina and people was like, you do, and I'm like, you know, what's your style? I'm like, we do like this little bounce. They was like, you like on that Frida stuff? Like y'all do that, you know? So I was like,
you don't understand it,
Yeah, I was like, I'm like, that's they thing with it. You know, it's still bounce, but they doing it their way, we do it our way. And it was just hard to make them understand it because out of town started looking at it as that was what it was.
Because Frida's so big right now.
Frida became big, So they got confused on the high work, you know, or the culture of how it really was getting down. They, you know, some people come down here and do interviews, they'll be on a fourth generation bounce artist and not first generation. So, and then they just take it from that third or fourth generation artist and run with it like this is the sound. This is the new sound or whatever, not knowing that it came from
the
somewhere
origins,
else.
That gangster shit, like Everlasting Hitman, all that.
So it got stuck in a box, like far as that level, because you know at one time, like you said, it was a gangster vibe. People were saying buku gangster shit on bounce vibes. But when it got to, like I said, when the gay artists started doing what they're doing with it, it got pigeonholed to being like, oh, that's what it is.
The girls are the
the gay people. So it started being like one lane for it, and it made artists down here that's from the city be like, I ain't really messing with that because they didn't want to associate themselves. Sometimes if you did a bounce song, you got stuck in a bounce box. Whether you R&B or whatever, we want to hear more of that. You saw it with S80. Like, you come out with a song that got a bounce, but they want more of that. Now, you know, and I ain't really...
But the thing that's crazy about that, I remember we was in Indiana in certain places, they was like, man, this not going to work on our radio station, don't play. This when 80 was on tour with Ray Shrummer and Lil Wayne. But like you said, this is what got us here. This is why New Orleans people were shazamming this record in the region. Y'all saw it. So now we at this level, but y'all won't change the man from his style after this what got him here. So it's like, it's always crazy that, you know, as soon as something go to working for you, they want to say, you need to do this or you need to do that. No, this is what the people like. This is what got us here.
They still thought it wasn't a mainstream sound, bro. So they got you because they like, oh, this little kid got a talent or he got some little juice. So what we need to do is they thinking, you know, that we could develop you into a mainstream, you know, we can make your sound as local sound mainstream. So they always looked at that local sound needed a mainstream appeal to it, not knowing that, like, you know, what Drake came right out and did was something that been going on 20 years prior to Drake.
But that's the same thing, like you said too. How you gonna tell me this not local music or this can't go nation? Because like trap music, those beats, even though we know the origins kind of come from 3 6 Mafia in Memphis, but what they was doing in Atlanta, the crunk music what Lil Jon was doing, that was still like that music that they love in Atlanta, and it just went mainstream. So this is local music that just going big time. Same thing like Detroit music is that sound, but not everybody like Chicago, that drill underground sound went mainstream. So
all the Bay Area with the hyphy movement.
The hype is just
their own thing. It was an offbeat rhythm, and I'm like, but they still
made it go
worldwide. So I just think that they had different A&Rs that got in position and they started understanding that it can be marketed. I think the era when we was in, it was a one-track minded A&R setting, and they just didn't know what to do with it, bro. You know, because honestly, I think they would have never not did it if they felt like they could make money. I don't think it was an ill intention. I think their intention was to do something bigger, but they just didn't know how to market what we had. They felt like it was so, you know, like I said, it was like go-go.
So different,
it was so different. It was like, we don't really know what to do with it. You know what I'm saying? And you know, you gotta understand the videos, how provocative a video is now. We really couldn't do that as much back then. Tip drill was getting you know,
and that was on uncut.
They couldn't do it on.
Y'all had the boxing shit back then.
We had to do it on a smaller level. So if I'm investing my money, I want to invest something that I can put on BT regular, not uncut. Not you don't have to wait till 11, 12 o'clock to watch.
Be more mainstream.
You want to be more mainstream. So they just didn't know how to market it, because if chicks dancing off it and ass jiggling and all that, how we fucking market this to the world? They just didn't know how to do it, and they knew what we was doing with it, but it was like it sound underground because we could never get it to that level.
And it's crazy though too, Meana, you said it, because I think about Uncle Luke, and it's like Luke went through that shit for it to be like, you know, like they should have understood it by then. But this is another thing too, like think about the cities that have sounds, like you said, New Orleans had a sound, but back in the day it was like the record label, like you said, Big Boy had a sound, Cash Money had a sound, Death Row, you know, Rockefeller, Rough Riders, you know, Rootless Records, they had a sound. Now it's all about your city, because Chicago has a sound, Memphis got a sound, you know, the Bay got a sound. Not, you know, so even Baton Rouge. So that's what I say, like, to me, is that sound that if everybody in New Orleans get on that wave, and it just go everywhere.
I think it's changing. You know, I'm working with a lot of artists, and A lot of them want to mess with bounce. You know what I'm saying? Like, you'll be amazed to hear Skip on a bounce beat.
Right.
I'm working with Skip and Dizzy right now, and
shout out to them.
Got a full bounce song.
I fuck with Skip.
And he's doing his thing on it, and you know, he got the right attitude, and it's super witty, and he going with his move with it, like, you know, because people starting to understand it. And I've talked to a bunch of artists. You know, you look at Jay Austin, he did the Pimp Daddy. Like, people running with, they seeing like, we ain't gonna keep letting y'all just come take the
run
sound.
off with the sauce.
We about to capitalize off our own culture the right way. And it's starting to, you know, it's a new day. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people may not see it because sometimes it takes time for everybody to see it. But if you in tune and you locked in with these artists and you in these studio sessions, you kind of know, oh, this about to change. I see where things going. So it's about to be a new wave for us.
And I always like that because I remember Baby said we're gonna bring the game to us. And like I said, man, the Freshmen made it. Y'all gonna respect this sound. Like, y'all might get it or whatever, but y'all see what Master P did. So get the fuck out of our way and let us do this shit the way we've been doing it. Like you said, the sound and everybody just fucking with it, like you said, is a beautiful thing, that the shit just evolving constantly, and the artists today, you know, doing it. And I think about what P. Mo said. He said he feel like every artist from New Orleans should have at least one bounce record. And you know, you ain't got to do the whole album like that, but just give one to your particular region, culture, and everybody should do that or whatever. And I think everybody do that. So if you do that, I think you know, you did a good job, and you just give one record to your culture.
They're coming with it. I mean, like I said, I've you know, looking at a little iceberg full of iceberg, full of, like they getting.
Oh, he love New Orleans.
They getting with it, bro. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, if people could kind of like just tune into, just keep your eyes open. You're gonna start seeing more artists have that element in what they doing. You know what I'm saying? The females running with it like crazy. You know what I'm saying? From down here, Dino, you know what I'm saying? All those type of artists, they starting to rap to it. You know what I'm saying? You know, Treaty, running with it. They can do it.
XL, all of them.
Yeah, they can do it. They can do it.
I see you got the East hat on or whatever. You know, what make the East great again? Why you got that on and with that representation?
I used to live in the East. You know, like I said, I moved in the East. That's where I met Kangoy. That's where we formed Partners in Crime at. And when we lived in the East, but the East was a great place to live. When I moved from the Holly Grove, you know, all my partners was like, boy, y'all moving up. You know what I'm saying? So anybody that moves in the East, you know, that's where all of the quote unquote at the time, man, they got buku pretty girls live out there in the East. You know, like it just had a certain kind of reputation for good living. You know what I'm saying? When I first started rapping, like doing, like chanting for my partners, I was messing with, you know, going against my Uptown partners. Was like, I'm from the East where they live real good. You know, we got Central Air and Central Heat. You know what I'm saying? When you know,
they had the windows at downtown.
Uptown, we had
the gas stoves and shit,
stuff like that. So we, you know, we moved. You know, it's like a moving on up, like the Jeffersons. And it was a place to live, but you know, with the gentrification and, you know, gentrifying the neighborhoods, they kind of put everybody in the East.
Now you talking about after Katrina?
Yeah, after Katrina, they you know, they wanted them areas uptown to be close to the parade routes and things like that. You know, they start building around tourism and things of that nature. So they moved everybody to the East, which you're gonna, you know, it's like you creating a bomb, like, you know what I'm saying, because you're putting all these different energies in one spot, that
all these different hoods,
all these different hoods, and these people trying to, you know, everybody trying to lay claim to who we are, what we are, you know what I'm saying? And it's in this one spot, which was the East, which made it, you know, a tough spot to be in, you know what I'm saying, from there. But, you know, like, make the East great again, man. Like, you know, give us the mall back, you know what I'm saying?
Man,
you know?
But see, not think about that, meaning, like, you know, I'm from the East too. I grew up in the East too, in Tyra Lane. So, like you said, it was good spots and all that. We was living in they had bad spots too, because there's like 80,000 people that live in the East. So that's about the size of Kenner, or about the size of Gary, Indiana, where Michael Jackson from. We know Gary bad. So they had their spots, but like you said, there was places off Bullard with nice houses, gates and all that, Eastover, football players, Pat Swilling, Birdman, them cash money on cribs. But you still got the Goose, Juvenile Beef, like the checkerboard, the Goose, a Manny Fresh running for Uptown, the crowd, Soldier Slim at 95 round.
But the crime stayed pretty much in the areas of
it was like small little pockets.
It was little pockets, and whatever happened in those spots was mainly in those spots. It wasn't like it was in a suburban neighborhood where people was getting carjacked, robbed, things of that nature. So you know, like I said, you know, when that started happening, like the property values start going down.
The projects,
you know, so you know, when everybody come back after Katrina and they putting their house on Section 8, you know, you're gonna put a certain kind of energy of people in there. You know what I'm saying? First of all, it's not their house, they don't really care. You know, and you know, just come up a different kind of way. So you know, everything started going down to some degree, and the crime just went up. You know what I'm saying?
You're right. Like you said, by the property value going down, by certain people that probably was living in a middle class neighbor. Like if the Goose wasn't, you know, the Goose probably was a hood area, but if it was somewhere a Bullet, a Right Road was more of a middle class neighborhood. Now it's probably not as much as it was back in 90 or the 80s. Because originally that was made for white people. All the white people was living these. That's why they had an ice skating rink. They went to Slidell and Chalmette, Mandeville, and all that white flight. It's like Compton. Compton was where fucking George Bush used to live at. First, and then you get Compton in the 80s, gangbanging and Crips and Bloods and stuff like that. So, man, it's been a pleasure talking to you, bro. What's something you want to leave the people with, like last words that you want to say? Something?
Man, like we gotta reduce the crime. We gotta stop killing us. You know what I'm saying, bro? You know, like we always advocate for, you know, police brutality to stop and things of that nature, but we got to stop killing us. You know what I'm saying? I think if we could stop killing us, I think if we could put some of the beef aside, you know, like I say, us and UNLV had real beef.
Right.
You know, we lived past that, bro, and now we partners. That's my brothers. I call y'all, you know what I'm saying? When Tech coming home, you know, we fellowship with each other. You know, you got grandkids. Oh man, I seen you little grandbaby. So we can get past that. You know what I'm saying, bro? And we got to start having conflict resolution, like meaning to a level of like, man, we gotta be able to talk out stuff that ain't worth us dying over. Some of the stuff that they killing each other over is stuff that I'm friends with a lot of those guys today. The beef over this girl or beef over $100, like little stuff like that, man. I'm cool with some of them brothers today because we all immature, we all young, and we fought, you know what I'm saying, back then. So I just think, you know, you're gonna have your differences. It's all right to agree to disagree. That's a part of learning something. You know what I'm saying? Like he got a right to have his perspective, I got a right to have mine, but that ain't the reason I should kill a brother over it. You know?
Man, that's amazing.
So I think that we gotta get past that, bro.
And love each other.
We gotta start doing music together. We gotta start gelling up. We gotta start putting our brains on how we can make this money together, bro. And you know, just change like the path of what we on right now, because you know we killing our own selves, and you know, it's just sad, and people just watch it from afar saying, look at them stupid niggas. You know what I'm saying? So we gotta get off the nigga mentality and get into the black man, you know, reality of like
my brother, my sister,
my sister, my brother. We gotta get back to that. You know what I'm saying? So if anybody listening to this and they hearing where I'm at, that's pretty much what it's about. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, tune in with me. You know, anybody need mentorship to the younger kid that's crazy, like that's tripping or got some little problems, some anger issues and need to be talked to because the daddy not at home, man, give me a holler. You know what I'm saying? Like DM me, inbox, I come sit down and talk to him. I try to guide him, you know, to a better way. You know what I'm saying? You know, get some of my other partners to talk to them, you know what I'm saying, things of that nature. So we just gotta, and for all the OG brothers, man, stop sending these little brothers out here on these missions, you know what I'm saying? You got them doing things that you wouldn't do, you know, that you wasn't built like. So don't send these little brothers on a mission and get their life. Don't have them thinking, oh, you can go carjack somebody, you're gonna get juvenile life and gonna be home. First of all, you're gonna still have a record, and that record gonna live with you for the rest of your days, you know.
Last thing, Meana, I wanna say, explain that Trey stuff to break it down to people why they felt like Trey wasn't cool or getting out the car like Trey, because I know you always said a lot of Trey.
Well, you know, when I was on Marcello thing, you know, I said I was like Trey, you know, let me out the car on Boys in the Hood.
Right, dope.
And the reason why I say that, because, you know, a lot of people looked at Trey as a coward, or he was scary, he wasn't built like that.
Right.
But I look at Trey as a leader. Now that I'm old and mature, I understand that, and I could say I was like a Trey. If I felt like it wasn't something I wanted to do, you couldn't convince me to do that.
Right.
I could have been about it in the beginning, and if I changed my mind, I don't want to mess with that, because I believe that God convict us on a level of like, you shouldn't be doing, like when you get that feeling, don't let your partners persuade you. That's what a leader is about. We got to start being leaders of ourselves.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Followers of none and leaders of ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, when I did bad stuff, we did it as a collective, meaning like, y'all want to go hit a hustle? We all agreed on that. But if I change my mind on that, bro, you know what I'm saying? I should be able to be like, I ain't messing with that. You can't let peer pressure make you do it. So people got to start being their own leaders, and they got to start listening to that own inner voice that tell you, don't mess with that, because that is our guidance. And if people want to be guided, I didn't have a dad in my life, things of that nature, and I'm quite sure a lot of these brothers don't have that same role model in front of their life, but there is some kind of role model that you can see and say, that's what I want my life to be like. You know what I'm saying, bro? So we got to start picking what we want to be like, you know what I'm saying, and finding that in people, even if we don't have it in our own households, because it's all around us. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, that's my thing to all the youngsters, bro. You know, I love y'all, man. I want to see y'all live. I want to see y'all, you know what I'm saying, become the kings and queens y'all supposed to be. I want to see y'all be the businessmen, the entrepreneurs, you you know what I'm saying? Let's go do it, man. You know what I'm saying? Y'all got it in y'all, you know?
Thank you, Mr. Meana. Partners in crime, we out, baby.
We out.